Hey yo, welcome to our channel today. The story we have for you today, brought to you by Beer Maker, revolves around a husband who discovers his wife's deceit and lies spanning 2 years, all while she carries the child of another man. Now, let's delve into the narrative to uncover the unfolding events. Our usual group of 4 couples was having the normal once-a-month party. It was a sad afternoon to start the party, and we normally partied well into the evening. We were having a good time, having a few drinks, and telling all kinds of wild stories. It was my wife Emma and I, Ethan Johnson, my sister Pat, and her husband Bruce, Vincent Nancy, and Jim Sfer, and Jill and Wayne Bisler. Pat, Nancy, and Jill all worked with my wife at Connor Construction, a well-known regional construction firm specializing in public buildings, schools, and churches. Pat had introduced me to Emma 4 years ago, and after a short courtship, we became a couple. 3 years ago, we got married. I thought we had a very good marriage, and I loved her with all my heart, feeling that she reciprocated. As I said, the stories were flying hot and heavy, and the drinks were being poured strong and often. It wasn't too long before a couple of us were feeling no pain at all. Jill was pretty drunk by this time and was going on and on about how she had gone on a date with a guy named Jamie and got caught by her boyfriend, Philip. Philip was pissed, so of course, that ended that relationship, but she didn't continue to date Jamie. Sometime later, she met and dated Wayne and eventually married him. My wife, Emma, piped up, "Wow, Jill, that had to be really awkward. I never had any experiences like that, getting caught doing something I shouldn't have been doing." Jill, in her drunken state, responded, "Are you kidding me, Emma? You almost got caught with Tyler's baby in your belly after you ducked him for that whole week 2 years ago while Ethan was gone." Everyone in the room was shocked by that comment, and I heard Emma gasp. Wayne said, "Jill, why don't you just shut up?" I was clearly in shock at that comment and jumped up, saying, "What the duck?" The next thing I knew, I was laying on the floor. I apparently had been unconscious for a couple of minutes and was just starting to come out of it. I found out later what had happened to me. I had what is called a vasovagal response, having to do with the vagus nerve. It comes about as a result of stress, sudden onset of extreme emotions, and standing up too quickly. There are other triggers as well, and one of the most recognizable is witnessing medical procedures. That is what causes soldiers to pass out while standing in line waiting to receive their shots. In that circumstance, even watching another man pass out can cause one to pass out. Anyway, I was stressed, had an extreme emotional event, and stood up too quickly. There I was lying on the floor. They were taking care of me, and as I slowly started to come out of it, I overheard some of them talking. Jill said, "Why did you have to say that?" "I just don't know, Emma. I had too much to drink and I am so sorry. I never wanted to do anything to hurt you and Ethan. I am so sorry." I decided to play it cool for a couple of minutes to see what else I might learn. My sister Pat said, "Well, the cat is out of the bag now, and we just have to pass this off as drunken babble on your part." All of the others agreed, saying, "We don't even know if you will remember what was said, so just play it cool, and let's see if we can get past this. If he does remember, we will just say Jill is drunk and stupid." I was finally feeling better and sat up. I knew I needed to relax for a few minutes, so I just sat there and didn't say a word. I spent that time thinking about what Jill had said, figuring out what had gone on, when I was pretty sure I was going to be okay. I slowly got to my feet and straightened myself out. Everyone was looking at me with questioning looks. I just played it cool for a minute while gradually working my way toward the door. Emma asked me, "Baby, are you all right?" I looked at her and then glanced at everyone else in the room. "No, Emma, I am not all right. I just found out that my wife is a cheating slut. I just found out that she ducked Tyler Wilson for a whole week, probably while I was away at Air National Guard training 2 years ago. I just found out that you were pregnant with his baby. I know now that you didn't have a miscarriage like you told me, so no, I am not all right." I could see the tears streaming down Emma's face, but at the moment, I had not a speck of sympathy for her. What's more, I just found out that all of you, including my own loving sister, knew about it, and no one bothered to tell me. No, I am not all right. I'm getting out of here. Don't any of you follow me or talk to me, and don't call me. All of you just stay away from me. Update. I had to get away, so I got into my truck and drove. I knew that I had to be alone for a while and think this all through. My truck was a bright red Ford F-150 with a ton of chrome, so I knew if I continued to use it, I couldn't stay hidden from their prying eyes for long. My friend Jack lived on a farm about 20 miles out of town, and he had a large machine shed that I could put my truck in. I knew he would be there for me, so I drove out there. I let him know that I was having some problems with Emma, and he agreed to help me out. We parked my truck in the shed, and Jack gave me a ride back into town, dropping me off at the Hertz rental facility next to the airport. I rented a nondescript Chevrolet Impala for a couple of weeks. I figured that by then, I would have made decisions for the rest of my life and wouldn't need to be gone anymore. I checked into a decent hotel, the Courtyard by Marriott on the outskirts of town, with a lounge and restaurant. I had enough to drink earlier, and I didn't want to be any more impaired than I already was. I sat around thinking about what had happened, and some things gradually became clearer to me. It took a while, but soon I think I knew exactly what had happened 2 years ago at Emma's Christmas party. Tanya Wilson had come on to me. She sidled up to me and said, "Ethan, you are one hot guy. How would you feel about giving me a go?" I was shocked, but truthfully flattered too. Tanya is a very hot woman with beautiful auburn hair and a body that would inflame desire in any man. If I was willing to have an affair, I'd see she would be a lot of woman to handle. I kind of figured she was pretty drunk and really didn't mean it, but I was flattered nonetheless. I told her, "You certainly are beautiful and sexy as can be, but I'm not a free agent. Sorry, I just won't do that to Emma." She smiled at me and said, "Oh well, I tried. When you are ready for me, just give me a call." I was a little confused by that comment, but just let it slide and got back into the party. I must confess it made my night though, and didn't hurt Emma's night too much either when I was extra attentive in bed later. In a repeat of this past year's Christmas party, Tanya came to me again. "Are you a free agent yet, Ethan, baby?" I sure would like a shot at you. I let my ego get stroked for a minute, but I told her, "Tanya, this is getting old. I told you I wouldn't do that to Emma, and I would appreciate it if you didn't do this again." Tanya said, "Well, that is too bad, Ethan, because I think you and I would have a great time together. I won't bother you again, but when you are ready, just call." Now I realized that Tanya knew all along that Tyler had dumped Emma, and she was trying to get even with him. I decided to call her to talk after I had thought things through. I looked up Tyler Wilson's phone number and made the call. Fortunately, Tanya answered the phone and not Tyler. "Tanya, this is Ethan Johnson. I am ready to talk. If you can get away, I would like to meet in the lounge at the Marriott Hotel." She told me that she would be there in 30 minutes. "Great, I will be waiting there for you." Right on time, Tanya walked into the lounge, and every eye in the place was on her. She was as beautiful as I remembered from the Christmas party. She had on a modest but very attractive dress, and her long auburn hair hung down her back. I think everyone in the lounge turned to look at her as she walked up to me at the bar. I gave her a gentle hug, and we took a booth in the back of the room because I wanted a bit of privacy with what I wanted to talk to her about. "Tanya, I called you to talk, and I am pretty sure you know the reason. Just tell me straight out, did you or did you not know about Tyler playing my wife Emma?" She got a mischievous smile on her face and said, "Ethan, of course I knew about it. Why do you think I wanted to play around a bit with you? I wanted to have fun with you, and I still want to do that." "Well, I just became aware of that little dance today, Tanya, and I am not certain you and I playing around, as you call it, would be in our best interest at this time. But I really do want to know everything you know about the situation. I know that they did have sex because I actually caught them in my house. I was supposed to be spending some time with my mother, but decided to come home early. I caught them playing in my bed, Ethan. They didn't know that I saw them because I left and went to stay with a friend of mine for the night. I didn't want to confront them together until I had time to think things through. I figured a night with my friend would let me clear my mind. If you need to verify that, I will give you her name and telephone number. Anyway, when I came home the next day, I confronted Tyler about having an affair. At the time, I didn't know the woman's name, and Tyler tried to lie his way out of the whole thing. But I told him I actually saw him, and no matter how many lies he told me, it wasn't going to get him out of it this time. I asked, "What do you mean this time?" I suspected that he had had other affairs but had been able to lie his way out of them in the past. I never had proof before, but now I did. I was confused but asked, "If you caught him with my wife and suspected him in other affairs, why are you still with him?" "I can't help it, Ethan. I love him." We sat down, and I told him I was going to divorce him unless he confessed everything to me, unless he promised me that he would never cheat on me again, unless he promised me he would agree to let me get my revenge with you. Without a word, we went to a lawyer, and he wrote it all up for us, and Tyler signed it. If he goes back on his word, I get everything in a divorce. He confessed everything about his numerous affairs. I turned on my cell phone and saw several messages from Emma, which I deleted without listening to them. I saw one message from my sister Pat. I decided to return that one immediately, so I hit the redial number for that call. When she answered, I didn't give her a chance to talk. When I simply said, "Pat," I thought I made myself perfectly clear when I said no one, and that includes my traitorous sister, should call me. I said no calls. Believe me when I tell you one last time, all of you leave me alone. Then I hung up. I went to my contact list and dialed up Vince Amato. His real name is Vincenzo, but he had pretty much Americanized it to make it simpler for himself. He and I were best friends in high school and college, and we still got together a couple of times a year. I think our friendship will last a lifetime. When he answered, I said, "Vincenzo, if you say yes, I will think you are the best casino host in Las Vegas. But if you say no, I will keep on thinking you are the biggest horses. Do you have a room available for me starting tomorrow night? Can you make that happen? Which is it going to be, yes or no?" His response was his usual. Assuming this is the biggest former friend of mine who should consider himself lucky if I ever even talk to him again, would I ever give you a room? I might put you up in a broom closet. However, the Bellagio Hotel and Casino would be delighted to give you a room for a few days. Are you coming out alone, or will you have that adorable wife of yours with you? Vince, my adorable wife isn't so adorable to me anymore, so she isn't coming with me. But I will not be alone. I think it might be best if you can arrange for a room with 2 beds just to be on the safe side. We are both married to the two who cheated together, and we may or may not get to use her terms revenge. At any rate, 2 beds would be nice. I am sorry to hear about you and Emma, but I will arrange everything and text you with the reservation information and so forth. Is there anything else you need, Ethan? As a matter of fact, Vince, do you have any flights from here that you could get us on? He laughed. You know you really are in his hall, Ethan, but I can make that happen too. I will text you with details. See you tomorrow. Tanya just sat there with her mouth hanging open, totally confused with what just took place. I suppose I should fill you in. Vince is a longtime friend of mine who happens to be a casino host at the Bellagio. I was the best man at his wedding to Felicia, and I have known them both for years. I try to get there a couple of times a year. Whenever I do go, I can usually count on a room. Doesn't mind that Vince gives me a room. Just enjoy the ride, Tanya, because it will be a fun and wild one. We spent 4 nights in Vegas. I'd always try to figure out how much the trip cost me, and this time it was only about $750 with all food and drinks. Tanya enjoyed herself at the shows we saw in the casino, gambling with me and by herself, and in the bedroom, where we used 1 bed. The sex was fantastic, and I really enjoyed being with her too. I think we got along fantastically. On the last morning when we were done packing for the trip home, Tanya told me she wanted to talk. Ethan, after you confront your wife, you need to decide if you are going to stay with her or divorce her. Either way, I think I would like to be with you again, and I hope you would like to be with me too. When you have made your decision, will you give me a call? Depending on what you decide, I might have a proposal for you. Okay, Tanya, I definitely will call you in a few days. I have to say I had a wonderful time with you and enjoyed making love to you. You are an amazing woman. Thank you, too, for all of the information you gave me about Tyler's affairs. It will come in very handy in the near future. Final update. When we got back into our hometown, I called Emma and said, I want to come home and talk, but I won't do it unless the entire group gets back together so I can talk to all of you at one time. Emma said, Oh, Ethan, can't just the 2 of us talk? No, I want to talk to all of you at the same time, and if you don't arrange that, I will not come home at all. She agreed, and we set a time, and Emma said she would have all of them there. Tanya and I took an Uber to her house, and I had the driver wait for me while I walked her to her door. I pulled her into me in a tight hug and gave her a long and passionate kiss. I don't know if Tyler was there or if he could see Tanya and me, but I certainly hoped he could. The Uber guy took me to Jack's, and I picked up my truck. I called Emma again to make sure that everyone was there, and they were. When everyone was assembled in the living room, I confronted Emma about the affair. I accused her of deceiving me and lying to me for 2 years. Emma, you cheated on me and got yourself pregnant, so you had an abortion. You knew I would find out. You had a medical issue, so you lied to me and told me that you had a miscarriage. You said that the miscarriage somehow caused damage to you so that you could never have children. I felt so bad for both of us, but I loved you so much and told you that it didn't matter. I treated you like a queen because you seemed so sad, and I wanted to comfort you and let you know how much I loved you and how special you were to me. You didn't deserve any of that, though. Your abortion was the cause of your not being able to have children in the future, not a miscarriage. Every day, we have been together since then. We have been living a lie. Emma, here is the bottom line. I forgive you for your affair with Tyler. I forgive you for lying to me about the abortion, claiming it was a miscarriage. I forgive you for all the deception over the last 2 years. The room had been quiet during all of my statements, but when I said I forgave her, there was a collective sigh and some guarded conversation. I just sat there for a bit, putting my thoughts in order. I said, "Let me continue. Over the past week, I have been with Tanya Wilson. She filled me in on everything about your affair, since she saw the two of you and confronted Tyler. And yes, in case you were wondering, we did have sex, and it was amazing. Tanya is beautiful. We have become quite close. In fact, one of the things Tanya told me is that Tyler is sterile. That means, dear wife, that unless you were ducking other guys at the same time, you were not pregnant with Tyler's baby. As Jill so eloquently put it, you were pregnant with my baby. I will never forgive you for that, ever." Tears are running down Emma's face, and she can barely stay upright in her chair. The look on her face is total upset at what she had done, but I had no sympathy, not for her and not for any of the others who had looks of disbelief on their faces too. I had been standing up this whole time, so when I was about to leave the room in my house, I turned back to the group and said, "By the way, Tanya told me that Tyler confessed to affairs with several blonde women in addition to Emma. Oh wait, I suppose I should mention that the list included Jill and Nancy and Pat too. So guys, it appears that all 4 of our wives wanted to try another man. But at least I had the decency to tell you. None of you had the decency to tell me, so I don't have a lot of sympathy for you now. Good luck with your marriages." It was a few days later that I called Emma and said, "I am filing for divorce, and you will be served soon. I think it would be wise of you not to fight me on this, or everyone, including your family, will hear about your sordid tale. I promise to be fair to you. Even if your actions were not fair to me, just sign the papers when you are served. The lease on this house is up in 2 months, and I will pay the rent until then. But if you want to stay there, you will have to sign the lease on your own. There will be some spousal support, I suppose, but you don't earn that much less than I do, so don't expect it to be a huge amount or to last too long. Just take the deal that is offered and sign the papers." Epilogue. Emma was served 2 days later and signed the papers. After the requisite time, the divorce was final. Emma had cried herself to sleep every night after I left and was almost comatose the day the divorce was final. She and I never talked again. She knew she had ruined her marriage and just couldn't forgive herself for what she had done. Eventually, she started dating again but never had a serious relationship. She just couldn't be happy with someone else. The other couples from our group were all still together, even though they went through some tough times. Our first family gathering was pretty tense. Our parents wanted Pat and me to kiss and make up, but I wasn't prepared to do that yet. I guess she wasn't either because I got scolded quite a bit. I really didn't care what she thought. Her husband, Bruce, did come up to me though and apologize to me. He said, "I'm sorry, Ethan. I know now that I should have told you, but Pat didn't want the subject to come up for obvious reasons. She knew if we spilled the beans with you, that all the other affairs would come out too. I really am sorry." I told him, "Thanks, Bruce. I wish you would have told me too. It would have kept me from wasting 2 years of my life. I did call Tanya as soon as the divorce was final. She said, "Well, I expected you to call sooner, Ethan, but I am glad you did. Now you know." Tyler was not happy that you and I spent the week in Vegas, but he knew he had to accept it. When I got home, I told him that I was going to ask you for a favor. "Ethan, would you consider being a father to my children? I want children, and Tyler will never be able to give them to me. I would love for you to be the father of my children. We hit it off in Vegas, and I am sure you would have to agree that we are very compatible. During my fertile time, I would come and stay with you for a few days, and we can make love, hopefully impregnating me." Tyler is not happy about this either, but I told him it was the only way I would stay with him, so he agreed. I was somewhat shocked by this, but not totally. "Tanya, you know I like you a lot, and we had a fantastic time in Las Vegas. Making love with you was everything a man could want. I have to tell you, though, a long-term affair and impregnating you isn't something I would want to do. I think that Tyler deserved the week we had together, but it isn't in my nature to do that to someone long-term. Plus, if I impregnate you, I would want to be in a relationship with you and be there to raise my children. I am sorry, but I just can't do it the way you asked. If you decide to divorce Tyler, you and I can get to know each other. And if we know we click, we could get married and have children. That is my offer to you. Regardless, I think that you and I can be friends. I do know that we clicked that much in the short time we were together. Call me if you want to do lunch sometime. Good luck, Tanya. You are a wonderful woman." Thank you, wonderful audience, for joining us on this incredible journey. If you found the story intriguing, please show your support by giving it a thumbs up, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to our channel. Your engagement fuels our passion for storytelling. Let's build this community together. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to bringing you more compelling content. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories.